Yeah, 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 yeah,
We're
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Stop,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Doc.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking-
Hello. Oh, goes. Yeah, that was a drag. We just fucked.
Monetization
Yeah.
when this is out. Just kidding. It wasn't there to begin with.
It's no. I mean, we can say that. We can say it. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
What do you want
did
to talk
want to
about
say
first?
I don't know. I don't know. There is something that I wanted to talk about. Hold on.
Oh shit! Yeah, something you want to talk about, guys?
Hold on.
Just wait. Wait for it. It'll be good.
December 7th. So next week, in a week, something is happening in a week. What is happening in a week? Oh, got it.
Yeah, he's got it.
I think.
He's got it. We can move on. He got it.
I think. Moving on. So,
imagine if that was it. 2.5 minutes to just hang on. It's good. It's good. Oh, I got it. Okay. So anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So anyway, now that I know what I wanted to talk about, let's forget that. Let's go right into something else. Moving on. So, in the last few weeks, we have had a lot of action for Nvidia, the Nvidia cards, the GPUs, and now GMU put out the info for the RX 7900 XTX and the XT, and I don't know how I feel about them.
What are they trying to do here? That's my question.
Who
It's
who
okay.
is the who?
Okay, so AMD.
Okay.
Okay. Clearly a response to 40, or something that was already in the works, right? But as far as release is concerned, a release at a particular time to respond to the 40 series. Okay.
So the thing is, what they've now been doing, and this will be the second generation of them doing this. They competed with the 30 series and now the 40 series for Nvidia. Is that it comes down to they're going to give you a product that is slightly below Nvidia, slight performance wise, right?
Right.
But for an amount of money that you're like, do I really need to pay this extra money for only this much more performance? Right? So they're going for bang for your buck on this. How the most that you can get at a cheaper price. And the 7900 XTX will have for memory, it has the same 24 gigs that the 4090s has. But it is that's it. Everything else is way below the 4090. So like the excuse me, the memory type is GDDR6 instead of GDDR6X. The base and the boost clock speeds are lower. The fucking memory clock speed is higher because remember you can boost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do. Okay. Yeah.
So like you can make it compute more because if you boost it at a higher clock, if you have less core count, But if you like Nvidia has a shit ton of cores, then they can be lower. So
Yeah.
But ultimately it comes down to the big old power of the wallet. The 4090 is $1,600, whereas the 7900 XTX is 1,000. So
the real question is, like you
600
proposed already, is
buckaroos.
$600, is the increase in the 4090 worth that $600?
Right. So I mean,
I immediately want to say no.
it's a up to the buyer
Yeah.
type of situation.
Yeah.
And this is where the fanboys will say, well, of course it's better because this and this and this. You're going to be able to do so many things with the 7900 XTX that I wouldn't even be able to even think about uh with my 3080,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we were comparing it to like does it genuinely fall above the 4080, below the 4090? In a lot of things, yes. In a lot of things, it's even below the 4080. But some things are higher and some things are as much as the 4090. So it's
I think the argument that could, you presented, fanboys saying, oh well, yeah, it's important because of this and this and this. I think what a lot of people don't, or either they don't know or unwilling to know, whatever the reasoning is, the fullest extent of a GPU gets realized by 0.1% of the people who use them. Okay? So what you're doing is you are paying, let's say for the 4090s, $1,600 so that 0.1% has continuous access to all of the aspects of the GPU. You will not be using them. You may try once in a while, sure. But generally speaking, you're not getting the fullest of the card. You're not getting actually $1,600 worth of stuff out of the card because you don't do things that require the full extent of the card. One of the reasons why I like AMD, as you said, they typically do this where it's just below the competitor, for the things that people don't read too much into or care that much about, really, and it is at or just above the areas that can sell better, like RAM, clock speed, the things that a layman goes, ooh, bigger numbers on the box,
right,
mine, and it's cheaper than the bigger numbers on this box, double mine. Like it's a smart tactic. It helps them save money on making the cards, and you have a higher chance of utilizing the card for all $1,000 worth than you would all $1,600 for the 4090, or whatever equatable is.
Yeah.
It's just the reason why I asked what are they doing here is other than like in the video you sent, they were talking about the actual chip itself and the little chiplets or whatever they called it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the difference, or sorry, why does the difference matter between the chiplets and I'm assuming Nvidia doesn't do chiplets? I'm ignorant to this. I'm reliant entirely on you.
All right, here's my fan's remote. It is basically the the CPU to the GPU, right?
Okay.
When you're stamping the silicon,
yep,
right? The die itself, after so many presses, will break.
Okay.
And usually the way that it works is that my die is stamped to make the electric pathways into the silicon a certain way. We're telling it you're going to do this route, right, with the electricity, with the electrons. Okay, boom, 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 boom. As the die is degrading, you are going to see a degradation of the pathway. So like you can have a really, really, really phenomenal early pressing, right? And that will be a phenomenal phenomenal whatever you're trying to get. As it keeps going and the die deteriorates, now you're starting to look at like the level down. So what that means is, like my CPU, I have an AMD 5950 XT. The 5950 and the 5900 are so close to each other that as they're pressing 5950s at a certain point, they're going to grab a quality control, put it into the machine, and see, all right, well, this is just a really good 5900 at this point. It's no longer meeting the threshold for 5950. So now we have a 5900. Press, 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 press. If it's the same architecture, right? If it's different architecture, then you're doing it for with a different die. But if it's the same architecture, then that's how that works. However, changing that die is so goddamn expensive because of how, you're literally telling sand how to fucking act to electricity. Like, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is very fucking expensive. Well, when it's big, it's expensive. However, what if it's just this part and then the other part is the other half is a different die? Well, now it's cheaper because now you
you're
can
compartmentalizing.
You can keep bumping out this part, not that part, and well, okay, we can just replace that one, and right, it's not the full thing. Hence, the chiplets are broken down into different pieces.
Okay.
So you bridge them by putting them onto the motherboard. Yeah, the circuit board. So you just put all of them together, and ta-da, the equivalent of having ta-da, that.
A solid, okay.
Yeah. It's just cheaper. So they're doing that to save money on it, but it is not they cheaped out. They went with this instead of this, and it's literally the same thing. What are we talking about? So,
I guess my question then isn't necessarily what are they trying to do here, because it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Why segment this stuff? And I don't mean the chip. I mean, this is 2 cards. Nvidia typically puts out casts for what, 4 different cards since the 30 series?
So remember, we still have the 70, the 60, and potentially the 50s, and then TIs.
Okay, right. Oh, that's even okay.
Right. So
if they're this business savvy, because a lot of this is business decisions, okay, saving money, releasing at a particular time. You are obviously taking advantage of the bad faith shit that Nvidia has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why then? And this ties into my original question. Why then claim things like 8K gaming?
Because at this point, we're going for gimmicky shit.
But it's easily refuted with basic algorithmic math.
So it's easily refuted, but it's zing words. Like it is, which AMD, what are we doing?
That's
Like,
I guess that's my question. What are you trying to do
why?
here?
Why would you take this route?
This is my baby. This isn't you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Oh no. What are you doing?
I and
Um
that's my question is it's great. I love what AMD does. Okay. I
yeah.
love I've got several AMD products in my tower right now. I I like what they do.
Yeah.
But if they're going to fall into the same trope, this is like the gateway is the buzzwords. And then it'll start being the obscenely weird variances in their cards that don't make sense with price points that are even worse. And then it'll start getting to
Well,
the same
that's
bad faith stuff that Nvidia does. And then they're
uh
the same company,
yeah.
just with a different icon. Like
So I don't think that they're there yet to that level.
okay,
Um because they how can I say this? Okay. So in the red versus blue war of Intel versus AMD for CPUs, um AMD was doing the same shit, but it's kind of like Samsung and Apple for the iPhone versus the Droid. So what I mean by that is that because they're staggered, there's not always a from the same starting line ready go. So there's never a clear winner, right? So Samsung releases their S series phones in uh, in March timeframe,
okay,
and um, Apple releases their iPhones in September. Within that time frame, if we're going year to year, the technology that was being developed, so like right now, what is it, the iPhone 14
something like
or
that. Yeah,
15,
that's
whichever one is the latest,
yeah.
it definitely is better than the S22.
Okay.
However, when the S23 comes out in March, it will be better than the iPhone 14. So it is an ever competing, we have to be better, we have to be better. Now, in the CPU world, when AMD came out, it was, well, when they started really going to try to compete and not just be a cheap option, they weren't trying to be fucking Kirkland brand. Um, let that sink in. Okay, so when they actually started competing and they were better, they released in such a way that it is now like iPhone and Android, where it is continuously, well, however, comma, um, last year Intel caught up, like they fucking hit hyperdrive and they passed, and AMD was like, oh shit. And it was because, I mean, the competition is good for the consumer. Yes, it is. However, it also showed that Intel was holding back. And they were holding back on purpose. They were like, no, we could probably get another generation, or like another run off of this generation. We could well, as soon as AMD started pushing them, we're like, well, fuck you too. Here's the double whammy. Here you fucking go. Well, now AMD's back to, they're still just a smidgen below Intel now, as opposed to best going back and forth.
So they're like riding coattails almost? Or drafting?
No. Drafting, yes,
Okay.
but it's they're applying that same model now of I am cheaper and almost as good that is being applied in the GPU world. So they are
But I'm gonna
almost
sell
just
it.
as good.
I'm gonna sell it
But
like it's the same thing. Thus,
well,
like in the GPU sense, AK this and that and this, because Nvidia claims the same
so,
thing, and it's not. It's
well,
just not
so from
true.
that video, the AK claim when Nvidia made it, the problem with it is that it's FRS. So FRS can
FSR.
be or yeah, FSR,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Is it FSR?
Yeah. Yeah. It's FSR.
Um so that's easily manipulated. Like just have better CPU and ta-da, there you go. Um
Why did you play again? Sorry.
hello, sir?
All right.
Um So I don't know why they're doing it. They're doing it just because that's the standard. You know, whenever something new comes out, you'll pull up the you'll put out the benchmarks and be like, "Hey, I ran Tomb Raider and this is what I got." Well, Nvidia was the first to do this. I don't know if on purpose. They tried to sneak it by on people. Um but they did it in such a way that it was like, behold, we cracked the AK threshold. And they did it with the 30 series. They did, behold, we with the 30 series TIs, we cracked 8K at 30 FPS. And it was like, no, you
Yeah, but
didn't. I mean,
how though?
it's
Explain to
not
me
stable 30
how.
FPS. It's 8K max 30 FPS. So I'm watching a fucking cathode ray TV. Like if it's under 24, you start seeing choppiness. So like what? Might as well just run 4K at my hair is getting in my ears. Sorry. Um, might as well run 4K at like 60 or hundreds because it is 8K is 4 times higher definition than 4K, right?
Right.
And I just don't know. The numbers are telling me that they're still in the running, but the numbers are telling me that they are still falling behind. And I don't know if like what we saw with mine, where the 5950s come out and they are better. I don't know if it was better than the 11th or the 12th gen. I think it was the 11th gen. Um, and within a few months, 12th gen came out and it fucking smoked 5950s out of the water. And then it was AMD going back and they're like, all right, we're gonna try again, but they didn't catch up. So GPU and CPU at this point, it's the deal bang for your buck option. It is not the
It's at the top end.
yeah, no. So I enjoyed it. Thank you, AMD. Thank you for the 5950. I have it. I appreciate it very much. Please catch up. Please beat Intel. Please beat Nvidia, because they're obviously doing it right. So the concern that I have now is Intel. Excuse me. Intel is going to have to catch up on the GPU world to now drive AMD to do the same thing that Intel did in the CPU world, where it's like, I guess we'll put out our better shit. I guess we'll do it. And that, like, slowly but surely, everybody's going to keep going up and up and up, at least in the GPU world. Now, for CPU, right now, we're stuck between the two, between AMD and Intel. No one else is as big a name or close competition for CPUs. So Anybody out there? Third
Do you
party
want to make a
showing out of nowhere.
snowman?
Third party, Apex, what up? Okay. Yeah, nobody wants to come in. But then again, who would it be? Nvidia making CPUs? Like, they're not going to. But at the same time, they do make CPUs because they make CPUs for the GPU.
Yeah.
So
it's not that far. It's not that long of a bridge to cross over to.
Yeah.
I can't, because I'm not as well versed. Like, I know how to put my own computer together. I know how to make sure things go together. The right socket for the right cooler and so on, right? I know the basics. But I don't know enough of third-party developers, or I guess they wouldn't be third-party. They would just be a competitive company to be able to come in. And like, the only thing I can think of is just some of the bigger names that come off the top of the head, like EVGA. You know what I mean? Like,
so Asus, EVGA, MSI.
MSI, I could see probably doing something pretty good. Maybe Asus too.
Excuse me. All they would need to do is think we are now competing against them. Which the problem for that is that will that hurt their relationship for all their peripherals? So,
oh my god, yeah, it would.
So will Intel be butthurt that a motherboard company that takes their chipsets is now making chipsets?
And would that company be able to make motherboards that accept other chipsets? Or would they be restricted to only the ones that they make?
Which we've now seen, Nvidia does it. Don't fucking touch my shit. Oh, okay. Got it. So
what happens? What happens?
It's mutually assured destruction if Intel would do that, because then, okay, I guess we're not making your chipsets or your motherboards that fit your chipset.
What happens then if, let's say, for example, Asus goes, you know what? We're doing it. Let's make a CPU. Yeah. We've got the technology. We have the people that know how to do this. Let's do it. And you know what? We're going to make a new line of motherboards. A whole run of motherboards. Let's do it. And Intel's like, all right, fine, bet. Listen, you're no longer legally allowed to make motherboards that fit or that advertise as being able to fit Intel chips. Okay. And let's say AMD does the same thing, says the same thing. Would that or would that not do one of two things? Either just nuke the entire industry, or now every single company, ROG, MSI, or is MSI ROG? MSI, Asus.
No, Asus. Asus is ROG.
Oh, okay. So MSI, Asus, EVGA, Intel, AMD, 14 other companies are all making motherboards for their own CPUs. Is that overload? Or would that even... Because if something like that doesn't...
again, I'm not picking up.
Okay. So basically, the straw that breaks the camel's back in my example is Asus goes, hey, we're making a CPU and we're making a lineup of motherboards that fit with it. Bing, bang, boom. We're now in the market. Okay, great. Intel and AMD are like, well, if that's the case, you are now a direct competitor, so you're legally no longer allowed to advertise our chipsets working for your motherboard or with your motherboards, older, newer, whatever, right? So they essentially start severing ties.
Mm-hmm.
Would Intel and AMD then redo contracts or immediately sever ties with other companies equivalent to Asus? Or and if that even gets hinted at happening, do other companies just follow suit with Asus and start doing their own stuff. And if that happens, like you see what I'm saying? Like, is there a trickle down, or is everything get nuked?
There is a repercussion if they were to do it. So that's why I'm saying it's mutually assured destruction, because unless Intel
it's
and
the nuke
AMD
option.
are going to say,
you don't see them like coming up, like everybody becoming a competitor. You see just the whole field being leveled.
Well, to do that, that would mean that everybody did everything. So like they would be car dealerships or car brands. Yeah. So they would have to do the whole thing. There would be things
gotcha.
There would be things like tires, right? There would be things that maybe everybody buys from Noctua for fans, or everybody buys from, I don't know,
Cooler Master for cases, or
right.
Yeah.
So, but if they were to get testy, then that would mean that, well, fuck you. I guess Nvidia, you're making your own MOBO, you're making your own CPU, you're making fucking everything. Intel, you're making your own motherboards. Good luck. Yeah. Which, no, I don't think they would go to that level. But yeah, it would be almost the equivalent of like a car. Like, it is the whole fucking thing. Because it's not just 1, 2, 3. That's it. It's 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces. 8 major pieces that go into. Hi.
My wife just sent me this.
Hello.
The cat passed out on her lap. Okay, then what about secret surprise third option? Challenger appears, because you brought up the concept of car dealerships, right? Whenever car people are looking online for, I need a third party muffler or whatever. Let's say this does happen, right? Intel now has to make their own whole getup, and Nvidia has to make their whole getup. Everything, right? Every major piece of a computer all has to be done by Asus or MSI or whatever. Would then the third party market see an extraordinarily large uptick, just like in the car industry, where if you want to update your RAM or change out your CPU or get a new GPU or something like that, much like if you want to replace your muffler or update your muffler to a slightly better version, you're buying, a third-party muffler, not one from Ford, not one from Toyota. You're buying one from Racers RS or whatever. Like, is that? I guess that would be the safest direction if everybody was like, well, fine, we'll just do it ourselves. It would almost have to have some sort of large third-party pool of either brand new developers or competitors or whatever you want to call them, or existing ones that are like, well, we'll take up the, EVGA used to do the thing with Nvidia, then now we'll do this for all your stuff.
But it would end up being like such a contracted thing. Right. Because it's at a certain point, you're going to end up dominating the market.
Right.
Where
like back in the day with like Dell or HP for the general use PCs.
Exactly. Yeah. They are directing the entire, and no, that would not stick around for too long.
So the fact that something like that did exist for a while, because again, HP, Dell, Apple, like the Macintosh, stuff like that, or the IBM, like that kind of concept did dominate for a very long time. You could still build your own computer, but 90% of the time you're buying a Dell and then replacing the GPU, or you're buying an HP and updating the RAM or something like that. Like you're doing that. You're buying the pre-built and then you're updating a singular piece. Nowadays, it's a lot more ease of use to build your own tower. There's a bajillion YouTube videos that tell you painstakingly each step for the exact configuration you bought, usually. So I guess, is it I guess my next question then is would it not stand to go that direction again because of how in their lane some of these companies are and how thirsty consumers are for the ability to choose each and every piece? And is that why companies like Cyber Power, iBuyPower, all these pre-built fan sites, like, they're not as big as HP, they're not as big as Dell, or like even NZXT? You know, a large portion of their promotion is through content creators. Like, these companies still exist, but what's keeping them from returning back to the old HP, Dell, Macintosh, IBM days? Is it us?
Freaking.
Is it them? Like, because and that goes back to my original question to you with
monopoly breaking bullshit.
Yeah, like that goes back to the original question that I asked you about Radeon. Is like, at some point they've got to be tired of either being just under or right at or just above. Like, when do they go, fuck this, let's, Kardashian butt up in the air with a wine glass on the back of the bud break the internet, right? When do they just skyrocket 14 generations up because they've been working on it for 12 years? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When does that happen? Or are they just going to continuously, like, at some point somebody's got to be fucking tired of this? I guess my question is that us that gets tired of it, just stops buying stuff because we're tired of the incremental increase, and we end up waiting every 5 or 6 years to buy something, and so they start making the development process that way? Or is it them saying, screw this, we're the best now, here's why?
Listen up. Yeah. This is how things are going to happen.
I know last year we said AK, this time we mean it. Like,
yeah. Either like third party comes out of nowhere,
right?
Like fucking Dark Horse, what up? Or
that was a comic book reference, right?
Sure.
Well, what was it? Now I feel stupid. What was it? Because that's what every time I hear Dark Horse, I immediately, I do not
Dark
go
Horse
to
comics.
I do not go to the Nickelback album. I go to comic books.
Dark Horse, a candidate or competitor about whom little is known, but who unexpectedly wins or succeeds.
Oh, it's also discrete. Okay. It's not just a proper noun. I get it. All right.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So
I've mentally caught up.
Unknown shows up out of nowhere.
Thanks.
Do over. Future Anthony, right here.
Take two.
Take two. So a future candidate shows up out of nowhere and like just holy shit. Even if it is like, even if their one shot is what gets everybody going.
That's the Katy Perry song. Oh my god.
I'm gonna let you simmer on that, my dude.
I'm sorry.
Holy shit. Oh my god, bro.
it's rough. Having
sometimes
the mental capacity that I do and the stunted growth that my brain is stuck in.
Apparently.
It's difficult. Okay.
Apparently.
Carry on, please.
I was about to sneeze. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm excited, but at the same time, like, I want them to keep going. Just do better. Be better. Be better.
I wouldn't mind them skipping a generation and just waiting a year and coming out with something twice as good.
Shut the fuck up. That's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but like, I'm to the point now where the next computer I buy is a Cyber Power because I don't want to fucking deal with it. Because by the time I go from part picker to putting it together, there's a new generation that's already been out, so I'm already behind. So
why are you what is
PC part picker?
How do you do these things? No, I use PC part picker, but why is it taking you forever to do it?
No, that is.
Explain better.
Do I need to define exaggeration, or can you pick up what I'm putting down?
Please.
Making things out to be more than they actually are for the purpose of conveying a point or feeling.
See hyperbole. Okay. So.
No, but you get what I'm saying though, right? Like that's what it feels like. Like I just got the 2060. It's great. 4 months later, the fucking 30 series comes out. So why did I spend $800 or however much, right? When I could have just waited a few months, made do with what I had, and gotten the brand new hotness for the same cost. Because now the 20 series is down $400. Like,
because you get the pleasure of building it yourself. Wow. Yeah.
Yawn.
Listen. Yawn. Hello. McFly. So the problem with this whole generation after generation after generation, one by one purchasing is, first off, you don't have to.
True.
Like most of our friends are still on 10 series, right?
True.
And they're barely starting to see that, okay, yeah, I guess I need a new one. And so they're skipping 2 entire generations, going from 10 to 40 if they get a new one. Which, I mean, that's not...
Now they've got to update their motherboard. Now they've got to have a CPU and a power supply.
Yep. So it's a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
But the companies need to keep pushing out, because I mean, it's not every year. It is every like 3 to 4 years for new generations. Because I mean, I bought mine when it came out in 2021. I bought it last year.
And now the 40 series is out.
Yeah, and I mean that's 2 years. Because we're...
Well, again, you're also that's not just the GPU price point you're looking at too, because a lot of people will want to then update their RAM, or because a lot of people are like you,
it's
where
a package deal.
There's an overanalyzation in a good way of the parts that you're picking, whether or not they'll work for the next year or two. If you have to upgrade one, you don't have to upgrade the other because you did your due diligence, so on and so forth. Some people just want that cyber power. Some people just want that iPad power. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm there yet. I do enjoy putting my computer together. It's always anxiety ridden every time. I'm gonna destroy it. That's $1,200 down the drain because of 2 parts that I accidentally pushed in too hard on or whatever. Right? There's always that risk, But But it's I don't know, man. I know realistically it's not every year. It's not every 6 months.
So my point that as to why I don't mind it is that it's needed for us to get the next generation. It has to be funded by the previous. So all of the revenue that they make from the last generation goes into hell, even if it's not like, well, they made $2 billion and they only put 10 million into R&D. Yeah, no, the 2 billion was the convincing point that they should make a new generation.
That they should put 10 million in R&D.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's not that they put the money into it immediately. It's the fact that it was, oh shit, we should probably do that. So that I am not I'm not hung up on it. I do think that the next like 6 months should show us. Well, actually, no. We're gonna get all 3 within the next 2, or actually,
all 3.
Yeah, it's no. All 3 are already out or about to be out. Hold on. So December 13th. So that's next week, I think, right? Or 2 weeks from now for AMD, and then Intel and Nvidia already came out. So within 2 months, we got everybody that came out with their shit. So let's see who sells the most units, and let's see, now that there's a no kidding third player in this being Intel for GPUs, let's see them start pushing the other two to just do better.
I feel like
Do better.
I feel like that's going to help, because before it's 2 major people, so only smaller increments. So now you've got a third party that's like, okay, Nvidia comes out, AMD comes out. Well, now Intel has to go just above AMD, which means that Nvidia, holy shit, Nvidia, AMD, then Intel, right over AMD. Then Nvidia has to be just over Intel, which immediately puts them well over AMD. So then AMD has to go up. So one of those 3 is going to be the stepping stone for the other major 2 to actually do larger increases, like larger technological advances. So one of them is going to have to be okay being the Kirkland brand in order to force the other 2 to make bigger steps. So then I guess the real question then, which one is going to turn into Kirkland? Top of your head. Just first answer. Immediate gut feeling. Intel?
Yeah.
Lack of funding, lack of interest, too late in the game. What?
Lack of interest would be the very, very like reduced version to the long explanation, but just lack of interest.
They've got other stuff that gives them more money, that they put more effort into. This is kind of like let's try this.
Like it was just a shot across the bow to everybody else. Like that's all that was.
Speaking of a shot across the bow, are we allowed to talk about Stargate now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, before you do that, I do want to say
before we do that, it's a podcast.
Is it though?
Rude.
I wanted to tell you this is a therapy session for you. So I did want to say congrats to the Air Force C-17 crew.
Yeah.
So if you're watching and you don't know what the hell we're talking about, during the evacuation of Afghanistan of the civilians out of Kabul, there was a big cargo plane. It's a C-17. It's an Air Force plane that flew out with 823 people on it. And I'm pretty sure you've seen the pictures online. But the crazy part is maybe the audio is out there and you've heard it, but it's like I don't know, whatever the hell their call sign was, Taskmaster 23 wheels up. Roger, how many packs do you have on board? 823. Say again. Excuse me. Wait. I have 823 souls on board. Like, holy fuck me. The plane that was designed to hold 400 people had 823 aboard. So the crew is going to be given the Distinguished Flying Cross and it's basically the equivalent of the Medal of Honor for pilots. And it is, it was combat, it was distinguished gallantry in a combat situation, because the downside to putting that many people is that the plane tries lifting off and blip, crashes.
Yep.
Because it would have been too heavy. But they all made it. They all made it out of HKaya. So good job to all of them.
The pilot likened the scene to that of the Titanic, the massive ocean liner which sank in the North Atlantic in 1912. Everybody on board wanted to try to get on the lifeboats, but if too many did so, the lifeboats would sink.
Oh.
That would be a very difficult sight, taking off from that strip.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to give him a huge shout out. It was Reach 871. That was the crew. Reach 871. Good job. So now that I'm done, please carry on with
now that you're done.
fictitious military. Talk to me about Stargate. Hi, Dashy. Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right. So, my hopes and dreams are not entirely dashed because the article that was presented makes some good points. But the overall feeling is that after the MGM purchase by Amazon, the proposed new Stargate series that was done by co-creator Jonathan Glasner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Glasner. No, Brad White.
Mm-hmm.
Who worked on the original series. I think all 3 series, actually. He's got about 14 years. Article says he got about 14 years of Stargate under his belt. He was hired to write a pilot. He did. This was in 2020, just before COVID. COVID hit, brought everything to a screeching halt, and they simply have done nothing with it.
Which, sad.
It's very sad considering that is, as the article puts it, low-hanging fruit for Amazon to do something with their MGM purchase right out the gate. Obviously, MGM has rights to other IPs that can be done. You know, you can do a lot of longer-term things, but this is one of the easiest gets that they could ask for, is a reprisal of Stargate, especially nowadays. Right nowadays, you've got every form of recreating a Disney movie to a live action variant, sequels, rebooting.
Oh, dude, I saw that Jennifer Lawrence was feeling old as fuck because they're redoing Hunger Games.
Why? Never mind. That's a dumb question.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Because you don't fuck with the money.
Wait,
that is the first time that we're saying that on season 2. What up?
Effective, like actually saying it for real, not just referencing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's when did SGU, when did that air?
Oof, I don't know.
Stargate Universe aired. Final episode was May 9th, 2011. Was that the last one?
Jesus.
Stargate SGU's final episode. First episode was that. 97. Anyway, the point is, oh my god, yeah, SGU was the last one to air. Well, Stargate Origins. There was a miniseries, Stargate Origins, in 2018. But Stargate Universe was the last one. A lot of people didn't like Stargate Universe. I liked it because it was the DS9 of the series, or it could have been. It could have been the Deep Space Nine of the series. They went a little too hard, and there wasn't enough variance, either in the cast or in the storytelling opportunities given. But it could have been that. It could have been the DS9. But right now, we are primed for either a brand new take, or you continue the lore and you allow some growth to have happened within the Stargate universe as a whole, where now, the Stargate program is known. And now there's an interconnect, like almost Star Trek-y, okay? Mm-hmm. But now there's interconnected alliances. Now there's, now they've found a way to make Stargate travel not reliant on just the one Stargate, or they found out how to keep the Stargate open and use other means to get through it across the world. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of things they could do. Or you just reboot the series. It's 10 years ago. 10 plus years ago was the last episode aired. Like,
right. So
reboot the series. Do it again.
It is
run it back.
It is not just 10 years. We're talking about 2022. We're talking about 24 years ago.
Listen,
for the series, episode 1, SG1.
For the
fucking reboot the whole fucking thing.
That's what okay, then yeah. Do that.
I'm not like I would be happy with what you're saying of like the alternate timeline that we see in the future where it is now known. It is known. And they're traveling off world and all that before they find out that none of us can breed now. Regardless of how much we try. So I just think that it should be like a do-over. Just do the whole thing all over again. And it would be what would make it really, really, really bad is that it's such a gamble, because I've told you this before. I don't think the Stargate would survive now. I don't think SG1.
What would kill it?
You're gonna have some fucking Days of Our Lives soap opera actors that are chosen because they're pretty and they're not good actors. Because you always need a leading man or a leading woman, and they're pretty and they can't act. You remember the Wormhole Extreme, where like they tried the satire where they were making fun of things, but like how the Teal'c impersonation was like
over exaggerated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be that, where it would just be the campiness doesn't. So then the question is, well, do we make it a serious take? No, because the show requires a fucking a goofy way of looking at things, because there's a scene where Jack is, saving the planet, and then he makes a crack, and Sam is like, "Sir, this is going on," and he's like, "Yeah, but like
it's still funny."
Yeah.
Thanks for killing the mood, and then walks away.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that was actually a requirement for him to take the role, is that he did the character how he wanted to, because they wanted him to be the movie version.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. like out of his brain, appropriate. And he's like, I can't do that. I already think this whole premise is ridiculous. and you're asking me to do this, I'm willing to do it if you let me handle the character how I see fit. You good? Yeah. There you go. That looks a lot like me. Only, I make it look a little better, but...
I'm listening.
Mm-hmm. With how many of your ears, though?
They're in there. They're tiny, but they're in there.
I think... Not just because I like to be a contrarian to you.
Sure.
I think you're wrong.
Okay.
And I think you're wrong simply because of how the original Stargate managed to work itself out. First off,
what?
they well, hear me out, okay? Because you had the guy that was MacGyver, okay, managed to be a serious role with, I mean, his kid killed himself with Jack's own weapon. First off, that's massive, and it's addressed. It's used as a character trait because he knows how to act that. First off, he's a good actor. But they managed to represent a person of color without making them like, overacting Ooga Booga tribesmen. You know what I mean? There's a culture. It's rich. It's respected. It's not, other than Jack, it's not made fun of. Like, they also managed to integrate historical cultures in a way that, again, if you take Jack's quips out of it, aren't made fun of. They're respected. Like, and then you have Sam, who was completely the opposite of typical female roles made at the time. She was commanding. She was in charge half the time. She didn't, she wasn't made to dress in accentuating outfits to really showcase that she's a woman. Hell, she had short hair for the majority of the fucking thing. That was now, and that was before, like, that was Star Trek level acknowledgement of social issues that a pair of writers and a director wanted to have addressed without directly attacking, an entire society. But now that all those kinds of things are under a microscope, or if you don't do proper representation, if you don't do proper acknowledgement of, every letter of the alphabet, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, then you're going to get, review bombed, or you're going to get this, or you're going to get that, you're going to get canceled, blah, blah, blah. I think what needs to happen, personally, I think it would survive if we got newer writers that actually knew about Stargate, had an appreciation for the lore, and knew how to adapt it to today properly. Not to make concessions, but to adapt. Being at the very least advised by the people that wrote this shit for the entirety of the 14 to 20 years it was aired. You know what I mean? Give the people that made this world the credit they're due by allowing them to at least advise a brand new writing team. And you know what? Bring in those soap opera actors. Let them cut their teeth. No, hear me out. Jensen Ackles. Could you imagine a different Dean? Could you imagine a different Dean? Because I can't. And he sucked ass in the first few seasons. He was terrible.
Who?
Jensen Ackles. Dean Winchester was a soap opera actor before Supernatural.
Okay. Got it. Now, I thought he was somehow in Stargate. I'm like, who is he? What tech sergeant did he play?
No, he played one of the stereotypical Marines that just walked around like this, because that's all we do. Hut, 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 and then we eat our bullets. Move. We eat our bullets.
Yeah.
He played a really good soldier boy, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
Almost like he kind of wanted to play that way for Dean Winchester.
Yeah. Like, it would have been cool.
I saw a lot of Dean in Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're right. Stargate can't be too serious. There needs to be like CW level campiness to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack provided it. Hell, every single one, even Teal'c, after the first couple of seasons, you saw his character start to kind of adopt some of the mannerisms, some of the way they spoke, of the Earth humans, right?
Yes.
And character growth occurred. He was still who he was, but he was different at the same time. It's almost a requirement to have a rigid first couple of seasons for shows like this. Anything from Star Trek to Stargate, the first season is the roughest because they need to figure out what direction they're going. I don't know, man. I don't think it would fail. Not for any reason other than people just aren't interested in that kind of show anymore with that premise. I think that would be the only reason why it would fail. Make it part of the Marvel universe or DC and give it to CW.
Stop.
Make it part of DC and give it to CW. Legends of Tomorrow accidentally rolling through the Stargate.
What are we doing here?
Like, I could see it. Fuck it.
Please no.
The Flash coming through and just slamming into a wall because his powers don't work there anymore.
Yeah, like, what universe am I in?
What Earth are you? Earth?
Earth? It's like you wrote it. I did. MGM, if you're listening, if you want a
I can get a pilot done to you in a week and a half.
Yeah. Just give him a week.
Or at the very least, you know what they could do is they could do instead of picking up or rehashing SG-1, or instead of picking up or rehashing Atlantis, pick up SGU. Pick up SGU and use that as your storyboat to then branch off into something different. Not Atlantis, something else. Not SG-1, something else. So, like, even just do a change of location too, where instead of, oh shit, we found a Stargate, now we've got to test it out, whatever. No, the reboot is that Stargate's been around, the Stargate program's been around for 10 years. And we found it because of this ship. Not because we realized there's a Stargate or 2 or 3 different Stargates on Earth. Not because we realized or found out that Earth was the original location of the older ones, or the Ascendant. The Ancients, thank you. But the only knowledge we have for the past 10 years is this ship. And we're testing out, we've been testing out by randomly connecting to Stargates because we haven't figured it out yet. Then you have an SG-1 team formed because one archaeological nerd who caught whims of knowledge of this ship out there. It's the same a story crafting SG-1 went through. Okay, same concept. Somebody had an idea of the fact that a gate exists and they're an archaeological, whatever. Follow the same recipe because it worked, but shake up the scene a little bit. Shake up, instead of the big bellied, likable but stern general, change it up to somebody entirely different. Make him kind of a dick. Like almost the big bad of the first season, continuously just wanting to keep status quo instead of branching out and learning new things and experiencing the cosmos through through the Stargate, and it's this new team, this crackpot team made of a Marine and one from each branch, and a couple of archaeologists. Like, go fucking nuts with it.
Mm.
But have already existed in this world, this reboot.
So what I would, if it was,
and that's Space Force, and that's why Space Force was made, is because they found that ship.
Oh my god!
Hire
MGM.
me. Hire me. It's all up
Where
here.
Where are you?
It's all up here. I'll never write it down, so you can't steal it from me unless you hire me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, then it's like Disney. Anything and everything you come up with is theirs.
Yeah, pay me enough, I won't care.
So what I want to see is what SG-1 looks like. Kind of like they started doing towards the end when it was Sam that was the colonel.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's after? Like SG-1 was considered the elite team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like have Teal'c be the trainer that's teaching them
to make the new SG-1,
right?
The replacement team, or like the rotation.
Having Teal'c, that actor is fucking amazing, and he's still jacked as fuck. So,
and he's aged, so he would age with Teal'c.
Yeah. Just explain it away that the what is it, tryptonin or whatever the hell is no longer as effective as it used to be, so he's now aging like a human.
Yeah. He still doesn't have
tryptonin. Tryptonin.
Yeah, he still doesn't have a worm in there to keep him alive. So now he's aging like a regular human because he's grown a tolerance. Because he doesn't have the worm, so he has to have the tryptonin, which means he's gained a tolerance, which would explain why others don't have the tolerance yet, because they're still with worm or not or whatever. Like, yeah, you could easily explain all that away, and just have it. Yeah, basically taking my idea but applying it as a reboot, but continuing the lore. You continue the lore, and now Sam Carter is the new big-bellied, stern but likable, 2 or 3 star general, taking over, and Teal'c is the new Jack, because he's been around for so long. He's adopted Jack's.
He gets a pass.
Yeah, he gets a pass. And then unfortunately have one of them die. Died 10 years ago, and there's a memorial plaque somewhere that one of the episodes can pay homage to, and respectfully, this actor didn't want to do the role, so they're dead. But like,
you're dead to us.
and the first season, you know what the first season can be? The first season can be recovering the ship from SGU. That entire first season can be recovering the ship from SGU, and then the second season can be going off with that ship, coming back, going off with the ship out, coming back.
So I am not. There's still quite a little bit of catching up that I have to do, because I got to the point of I was doing Atlantis and SG-1 at the same time.
Were you following that Excel spreadsheet? Yeah.
No, I was not. I was just doing what the internet told me. So I'm on season 8 for SG-1, season 1 for Atlantis. So I need to keep pushing, because I don't know how the SG-1 story ends. I know a lot of the details, but I don't know how it ends. Like, do we defeat the Goa'uld? Are the Asgard dead by the replicators? Are
the replicators still an issue?
Are they still an issue? Yeah, there's a
lot that can be done with this lore. There's a lot that has not been fleshed out that can be done with this lore. I don't want to see Amazon sit on this to the point of extinction. I want them to goad MGM. We bought you. Prove that we bought you for a reason. Real quick, just slap this puppy out. Use the guys that have been inundated with Stargate for years. Hire a writer from the fan communities that is just uber knowledgeable about the lore as like a Similarian writer, create a new story Bible, an updated story Bible, all this stuff. Like, take an extra 6 months, do your research, make your team, and then come to us with a pilot. Because Brian Wright, I think his name was Brad Wright, already had a pilot done, and they just COVID hit, and then they didn't do anything with it. And he's pretty sure they're not going to do anything with his pilot. But he's already stated, that doesn't mean I'm done. I get it. I get what happened. I understand. Hit me up. If you need me to write a new one, I will fucking rewrite the whole thing.
Let your boy know.
Completely different. It'd be a brand new story. We'll bring on new writers, new concepts, blah blah blah. All this. I mean, look at Discovery. Look at the production value placed in Discovery. Look at the production value placed in Strange New Worlds. We've got access to this stuff to really make Stargate pop. And then on top of that, there are more than enough people willing to write for the show, guaranteed, that'll tell the stories that we were used to seeing in Stargate the way that we were used to seeing it, just updated for 2022, and insert socioeconomic issues today, whatever, blah blah blah. Hell, oh my god, dude, we can even excuse seemingly large advances of technology that have popped up out of nowhere over the past 20 years as a trade agreement with a different world through a Stargate.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, I don't think it would fail. I think it would take some extra legwork, a little bit more elbow grease, right? And there is a possibility, I'll admit, of it failing if that story or that level of sci-fi just isn't well received. Not because the production is down, not because writing is bad or the acting is bad. It's just nobody wants that story right now. Then I could see it failing. But I feel like we're fucking plumb ripe for a new Stargate. Make a movie. See what happens. Like with that, I mean, how do you think the series came out the first time? They were hired for a movie. They were hired for 3, I think. I think they were hired for 3 movies. They got the first one out, and it was received. It wasn't necessarily well received, but they still managed to convince people to sign on for, hey, you know what? Just hear us out, okay? What if we got MacGyver? And then everybody was like, we're listening, because MacGyver is hot right now. We're listening. So what about Sam as the, well, that's almost too much of a 1-for-1 for archaeologist. Like Sam Winchester. I forget the actor's name. Who would be Jack? Who would be the new Jack?
Liam Hemsworth.
That poor man is not going to be allowed to make a 4th season, is he? He's not going to be allowed to be the Witcher, is he? He's not.
Just call it, dude. Just right
accept
off the
it
rip,
now,
right
my
now.
guy. Cavill's gone. It's the 3rd season. Netflix. It's not happening, my guy.
So sorry. Oh, man.
But who would be the new Jack? Like, and remember, we don't want a 1-for-1, but we want somebody that can carry the brevity and the aloofness that Jack had, but in their own way. So who do you think that would work?
I misspoke by saying Luke Hemsworth is the other brother. Would be my pick.
What
he has a He's in Westworld. He's in a few of the Marvel movies. He plays like fake Thor and like the actors, the theater. Do you know what I'm talking
Okay,
about?
yeah.
Like Matt Damon plays
Mm-hmm.
Loki and
Yep.
Luke plays Thor. Yeah, that's Luke. So he has like the block face of military.
How old is he
right?
though?
He's in his 40s.
Okay, so that's a good mix between Atlantis's
Yeah, that's a
lead
colonel.
and
Yeah,
SG-1. I liked Atlantis's lead. I like their replacement for Jack. I thought he was good for what Atlantis needed for that scenario.
right.
The group of people that were part of that team, I thought he did really freaking well for it. That and his nerd, he and his nerd actually worked as well together as Jack and his nerd.
As Jack and
Yeah, it's perfect.
Mm.
So then, is Sam Carter the new OIC, the new lead, or is she above that now, or is she in it at all?
So,
because somebody is going to have to be in it for this to work, really. And we all know that MacGyver's not coming back.
So we got 1 and 2 stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
For commanding CG for SG-1. From Lieutenant Colonel to 2-star, for it to be 20, no, how long? Fucking
97 to now. 97 is when it first aired.
No. I mean, 97, she was a captain.
Right.
But captain in the Air Force is like 4 to 6 years. Yeah, okay, that would work. 20 some years.
2 to 3 star, maybe 3 star,
yeah.
Maybe like middle of the first season, she gets pinned 3 star, and now she's got more shit she's got to deal with. So she becomes more ornery, and then they do a flashback to the old, the old
Back
Sam. And you've changed, Sam. Yeah, you're damn right I have.
Yeah, that's how this works.
Yeah. Would what's his nuts come back? The archaeologist. I always forget these fucking names.
Jackson?
Yeah. Would he come back, do you think? Because he's still
Michael Shanks.
He still acts.
Yes, but mostly Canadian soap operas.
Like, would he be like an offsite lead that he's tired
like
of Earth?
Alpha Site director? Or?
Yeah. I mean, he was originally pulled in from the one that started up the whole fucking unit that gave the Air Force the plaques to find the Stargate.
Yeah.
So, like, does he come back?
He would have to come back. They would all have to be like leaders in whatever they are now. So, like,
well, Jack would probably be dead.
Jack would be dead.
Yeah.
Sam would be like a 3-star.
Yeah.
Teal'c would be the trainer.
Would have to be.
And I don't know, fucking Daniel would end up being like a
no, I know exactly
world
what
representative for
either a world representative that's actually really. Oh, you know what? No. What was his replacement? What was his replacement's name when he ascended? There was a couple of seasons he had a replacement nerd.
Elias, something like that.
Yeah. So hear me out, okay? Later on in the later seasons, they showed that there is a training regiment now to make new SG teams. Okay.
Yeah.
So what if that training regiment has now turned into a full-blown MOS, where there's also classrooms too, to educate on the history of certain planets that we're in relations with, or how the Stargate works, so on and so forth. And what if, what's his name? The Ascendant. What was his name again?
And Jackson.
Jackson. What if he was a lead instructor and, oh no, Elias is dead. Okay, never mind on that. So what if, I'm pretty sure he dies because I think his world goes nuclear on itself. But Jackson leads the cadre of instructors.
Jonas,
there you go. Jackson leads the cadre of instructors, or created the curriculum for how that stuff is taught, and Sam created the scientific side of the curriculum. And what if they're married?
Sam and Daniel?
Yeah, because Jack died.
That brought them together?
Yeah. Everything else they've been through, and then their best friend dies?
I don't think that would be.
Because it was originally supposed to be Sam and Jack.
Yeah.
But that
didn't
happen because Jack's like, no, I'm good. I appreciate you, but no. Sam's like,
I love
damn
you,
it.
but not in that way.
Almost though. It's really close.
Yeah. Almost.
I think it would work. I think it would work. Like I said, it would take some elbow grease, but I feel like there's enough. I feel like there's enough people that want to see it that would be willing to put that elbow grease in, and I think there's a chance for storytelling that helps. That kind of did what Star Trek did back in the day with TNG, where there's that ability to connect and understand current social or economic issues through the storytelling of seemingly unrelated, worlds and journeys to go through, but still addressing current day issues. I think Stargate is ripe for that. Is a good medium for that.
It has had the history of it being kind of like Star Trek, right? Or TOS, how it exposed things. But I don't know. People are just going to shit on it without fully understanding the history of the show, where it's just trying to be woke propaganda.
Of course.
So
but that's the nature of every show nowadays. That happens all the time now.
Yeah. But I'm still caught on the Sam and Daniel being a thing. I don't think
that's a shot in the dark. It worst case scenario, they tried 10, 12 years ago out of mourning because that's when Jack died, and they had a night of passion and they tried to make it work and it just fucking didn't.
Okay.
So there's storytelling capability there. There's a new dynamic you can act around. Maybe one of the episodes, because hopefully it would be episodic, right? Not Discovery where it's the whole every episode you have to watch the previous one to understand what's happening now. Like hopefully it would be episodic, but
yeah,
you can write a couple of episodes or like a mid-season two-parter or something where it's like Jackson, Sam, for whatever reason, nostalgia maybe, goes on a trip with one of the SG teams and something happens and Jackson like reverts back to when he was younger and his wife was taken and made a host for the Goa'uld. And like, you know what I mean? So there's that whole I'm not her, like this is why we didn't work. And then they eventually build back up to what they were beforehand, what people remember. So the rare times they're on screen together, they can see that chemistry again and so on. Like there's story writing opportunities there for sure. But I think you're right, yeah. The idea of the two of them being together probably wouldn't work.
Probably not. Yeah.
So then would they just be both stag then?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because Sam tried to get involved with somebody else and he fucking died or some shit. I can't remember.
Anytime that any of them tried to do anything,
you're
married to
died.
the job, bitch.
Yeah.
You're married to the goddamn job. Get it together.
Oh my god, there's the good Goa'uld too? Bro.
Yeah, the Tok'ra.
Yeah. I don't think they dived hard enough into that storyline. That could have been that could have been a much bigger civil war than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like when you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just I was watching the I'm remembering very clearly um the episode where they find the Tok'ra queen
Mm-hmm.
in this planet that they're using her. They're basically liquefying symbiotes to cure the entire planet's ailments. And it was like, dude, there should have been more to this. Like, this should have
Mm-hmm.
been multiple episodes and not just like, hey, get in line. Doesn't matter who she is. Like, no, it kind of does matter.
Yeah, it does. Especially if you're painting these guys as the good version of your big bad. There should
Yeah.
be some emotional, moral conflicts going on. Half the team should be for it, the other half should be against it. You need like
Yeah.
2 episodes to get them on board, one side or the other, and then they need to convince, Teal'c, because Teal'c wants to murder all of them. So you've got to convince them that no, they're good, and yeah, oh god,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There's like I've said already multiple times, there is story potential that allows connecting of current day people and issues. I think
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And the only way that it would crash and burn, it might still fail after like 2 or 3 seasons, but we would at least see progression. We would see this is how things turned out 20 plus years later. Is we did
Yeah.
survive the Goa'uld. We did survive the replicators. We did survive, whatever. Um, I don't know, man. I could keep talking about this. We should probably stop though.
Well, on that note.
Yeah. Love you long time, dude, as always.
Love you. Socials down below, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Love you. Take care of yourselves so you can take care of others. Like, subscribe, the whole shebang. See us on Twitch. Follow us on the socials. Blah, 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 blah. Love you.
Love you. Bye.